What if I told you that some of the most profound spiritual teachings in human history were deliberately hidden, not lost to time, but intentionally suppressed? What if the keys to unlocking your highest potential were once within your grasp, only to be declared forbidden, heretical, even dangerous? Why would an institution as powerful as the Vatican go to such lengths to ban ancient wisdom that promised liberation, enlightenment, and unity with the divine? For centuries, the Vatican has been the guardian of sacred knowledge, but it has also been the gatekeeper. And behind those gates lie teachings so potent, so transformative, that they were deemed too dangerous for the masses. These were not just ideas, they were pathways to power, to understanding the very fabric of reality. But why were they banned? What secrets did they hold that threatened the established order? And what can we learn from them today? In this video, we will journey into the shadows of history to uncover the truth behind the Vatican's suppression of these ancient teachings. We'll explore the esoteric wisdom that was deemed too radical, too revolutionary to be allowed to spread. From the Gnostic Gospels to the Hermetic principles, from the Cathars to the Templars, we'll unravel the threads of a story that has been buried for centuries. And by the end, you'll understand not only why these teachings were banned, but also why they hold the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of yourself and the universe. If you're ready to uncover the forbidden truths that have shaped our world, hit that like button, subscribe, and join us on this journey into the unknown. The secrets of the past are waiting to be revealed. Are you ready to listen? To understand why the Vatican banned certain ancient teachings, we must first step back in time to an era when the world was a battleground of ideas, where spirituality and power were deeply intertwined. The early centuries of Christianity were not a time of unity, but of chaos, as countless sects and schools of thought vied for dominance. Among these were the Gnostics, the Hermeticists, and the Mystics, groups whose teachings challenged the very foundations of what would become Orthodox Christianity. The Gnostics, for example, believed that salvation came not through faith alone, but through direct knowledge, gnosis, of the divine. They taught that the material world was a flawed creation, a prison crafted by a lesser deity, and that the true God existed beyond it. To the Gnostics, the path to enlightenment was deeply personal, a journey of inner transformation that bypassed the need for intermediaries like priests or institutions. Similarly, the Hermetic traditions, rooted in the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, emphasize the unity of all things and the power of the human mind to shape reality. As above, so below, they proclaimed, suggesting that the microcosm of the individual reflected the macrocosm of the universe. These ideas were not just philosophical musings, they were practical guides to spiritual ascension, offering techniques for achieving union with the divine. But as the Catholic Church grew in power, it sought to consolidate its authority. Teachings that encouraged individual spiritual exploration were seen as a threat. The Gnostic Gospels were excluded from the Bible, the Hermetic texts were labeled heretical, and groups like the Cathars, who embraced a dualistic worldview and rejected the Church's materialism, were brutally eradicated during the Albigensian Crusade. Even the Knights Templar, rumored to have discovered ancient secrets during their time in the Holy Land, were accused of heresy and destroyed. The Vatican's suppression of these teachings was not merely an act of censorship. It was a deliberate effort to control the narrative of spirituality, to ensure that the path to God was mediated by the Church alone. But why were these ideas so dangerous? What was it about them that threatened the established order? To answer that, we must delve deeper into the core of these forbidden teachings. At the heart of the teachings banned by the Vatican lies a radical idea that divinity is not something external to be worshipped from afar, but something inherent within each of us. This idea, often referred to as the doctrine of immanence, suggests that the spark of the divine resides in every human soul. It is a concept that challenges the very foundation of hierarchical religion. which relies on the separation between the sacred and the profane, the divine and the human. The Gnostics, for instance, believed that the material world was created by a flawed, ignorant deity they called the Demiurge. This being, they claimed, was not the true God but a lesser entity who trapped humanity in a cycle of suffering and illusion. The true God, they taught, was beyond this world, a transcendent, ineffable presence that could only be known through direct experience. To the Gnostics, salvation meant awakening to this truth, realizing that the divine essence was already within them, and breaking free from the illusions of the material world. Similarly, the Hermetic teachings emphasize the idea of as above, so below, a principle that suggests the universe is a mirror, reflecting the divine order in every aspect of creation. According to this view, the human mind is a microcosm of the cosmic mind. And by understanding the laws that govern the universe, we can unlock our own divine potential. This was not just a theoretical concept. It was a practical guide to spiritual transformation, offering techniques for aligning one's self with the higher realms and manifesting one's will in the material world. The alchemists, who were deeply influenced by Hermetic philosophy, took this idea even further. They sought to transmute base metals into gold. But this was not merely a physical process. It was a metaphor for the transformation of the soul. The alchemical journey was one of purification, of shedding the impurities of the ego and revealing the golden essence of the true self. This process, known as the Great Work, was a path to enlightenment that required no intermediaries, no priests, no sacraments, only the individual's own will and dedication. These teachings were dangerous to the Vatican because they undermined its authority. If every individual could access the divine directly, what need was there for the Church? If salvation could be achieved through personal knowledge and transformation, what role did the clergy play? The Church's power depended on its ability to mediate between humanity and the divine, and these teachings threatened to render that role obsolete. But the danger of these teachings went even deeper. They didn't just challenge the Church's authority, they revealed the vision of reality that was fundamentally at odds with the worldview the Vatican sought to impose. At the core of these forbidden teachings was the idea that reality itself is malleable, that the boundaries between the material and the spiritual are not fixed but fluid. This was a truth that could empower individuals to transcend their limitations and reshape their lives. But it was also a truth that could destabilize the social and spiritual order. The Gnostics, for example, taught that the material world is an illusion, a veil of ignorance that obscures the true nature of reality. They believed that by piercing this veil through gnosis, direct experiential knowledge, one could awaken to the divine reality that lies beyond. This was not a passive process. It required intense inner work, a radical reorientation of one's consciousness. The Gnostics saw themselves as spiritual warriors, battling the forces of ignorance and illusion to reclaim their divine heritage. The Hermeticists, too, saw reality as a dynamic interplay of forces, a dance of opposites that could be harmonized through wisdom and will. They believed that the human mind was a powerful tool for shaping reality, capable of influencing both the material and spiritual realms. This idea was encapsulated in the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, as within, so without. It suggested that by mastering the inner world, one could transform the outer world, a concept that was both empowering and deeply subversive. Perhaps the most radical aspect of these teachings was their emphasis on personal responsibility. They placed the burden of spiritual progress squarely on the individual, rejecting the idea that salvation could be granted by an external authority. This was a direct challenge to the Church's doctrine of original sin and the need for divine grace. It suggested that each person had the power to redeem themselves, to awaken to their own divinity, and to co-create their reality with the divine. This was the true reason these teachings were banned. They were not just heretical, they were revolutionary. They offered a vision of human potential that was too vast, too liberating, to be contained within the rigid structures of institutional religion. They threatened to awaken people to their own power, to inspire them to question authority and seek truth for themselves. And in a world where power was concentrated in the hands of a few, that was a threat that could not be tolerated. Practical application. While the teachings we've explored were banned by the Vatican, their essence remains alive, waiting to be rediscovered by those who seek truth and transformation. But how can we apply these ancient insights to our modern lives? How can we tap into the power of Gnosis, the wisdom of Hermetic principles, and the transformative potential of the alchemical journey? Let's explore some practical steps to integrate these forbidden teachings into your spiritual practice. 1. Cultivate inner awareness. The first step on this path is to turn inward. The Gnostics emphasize the importance of self-knowledge, of peeling back the layers of illusion to uncover the divine spark within. Begin with a daily meditation practice. Sit in silence, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without judgment. Over time, this practice will help you develop a deeper awareness of your true self, beyond the distractions of the material world. 2. Seek direct experience. Gnosis is not about believing in something because you were told to. It's about experiencing it for yourself. Keep a journal of your spiritual journey, noting any insights, dreams, or moments of clarity. Pay attention to synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that seem to point to a deeper order. These are signs that you're aligning with the divine reality beneath the surface of everyday life. 3. Work with symbolism. The Hermeticists understood the power of symbols to bridge the gap between the material and spiritual realms. Incorporate symbols that resonate with you into your practice, whether it's the tree of life, the Ouroboros, or the elements. Use these symbols as focal points for meditation or visualization, allowing them to guide you toward a deeper understanding of universal truths. 4. Embrace the alchemical process. The alchemists taught that transformation begins with purification. Identify the base metals in your life, habits, beliefs, or relationships that no longer serve you, and work to transmute them into gold. This might involve letting go of fear, forgiving old wounds, or cultivating virtues like compassion and courage. Remember, the great work is a lifelong journey, not a destination. 5. Connect with like-minded seekers. While the path to Gnosis is deeply personal, it doesn't have to be solitary. Seek out communities of like-minded individuals who are also exploring these teachings. Share your experiences, learn from others, and support one another on the journey. Together, you can create a space where the forbidden wisdom can flourish once again. These practices are not just exercises. They are gateways to a deeper understanding of yourself and the universe. They invite you to step beyond the limitations imposed by external authorities and to reclaim your birthright as a co-creator of reality. The forbidden teachings were banned because they were too powerful, but that power is now yours to wield. As we come to the end of our journey into the forbidden teachings banned by the Vatican, one thing becomes clear. These ancient truths were not suppressed because they were false, but because they were too powerful. They challenged the very foundations of authority, offering a vision of spirituality that was deeply personal, transformative, and liberating. They reminded us that the divine is not something distant or separate, but something within us, a spark waiting to be awakened. From the Gnostics' pursuit of Gnosis to the Hermeticists' understanding of as above, so below, these teachings invite us to see the world and ourselves in a new light. They remind us that reality is not fixed but fluid, that we are not passive observers but active participants in the cosmic dance. And they challenge us to take responsibility for our own spiritual growth, to seek truth not through dogma but through direct experience. But perhaps the deepest truth within these forbidden teachings is this: enlightenment isn't about escaping the world, it's about transforming it. It means recognizing the divine within the ordinary, the sacred within the mundane. Every moment, every breath offers a chance to connect with the infinite. The power to reshape your life and the world has always been within you. If this journey into the hidden truths has awakened something within you, if the echoes of forbidden wisdom call to you, then like this video, subscribe, and become part of our quest for the lost knowledge of the ancients. These teachings were never truly lost. They have been waiting for seekers like you to rediscover them. The path is before you. Will you walk it? Join us at Cosmic Relics, where we unearth the hidden secrets of the universe. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and never stop exploring the unknown.